Some time ago, one of you viewers asked me if I could review this ERJ-145 of Luxair. It took me a while to get to it, but now we have it in front of us, so let's see what it has to offer. And with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at an Embraer ERJ-145 of Luxair. At the front of the box we have a cutout so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and underneath that we have the Luxair branding. Then on the back side of the box we have a lovely image of the aircraft in real life. Underneath that we find the original dimensions of the aircraft and some additional information. So that's it for the box. Let's take a closer look inside and at the aircraft model itself. And before we get too far into today's review, it is worth mentioning that this aircraft model does come with a piece of cardboard with an apron position printed on. And here she is, the Embraer ERJ-145 in the current standard livery of Luxair. The aircraft type itself isn't in use anymore with the airline. The majority of the fleet was dissolved in 2016, however with the last aircraft of that type leaving Luxair in February 2017. While the aircraft this model is based on left Luxair in 2015, and the model itself was produced by Herpa Wings in 2010. Now with that out of the way, let's take a closer look at the aircraft model itself to see what it actually has to offer, and we start our tour around the aircraft model with a look at the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer have the Luxair color scheme, which of course closely resembles the Luxembourgish flag. We do also have the Luxair logo, which to my big surprise apparently is supposed to resemble a flying boomerang, and underneath the engine nacelle on the fuselage we have a cargo hatch and the full registration code of the aircraft. And a little bit further on the fuselage we then also find the Luxembourgish flag and the flag of the European Union. Towards the very tail of the aircraft we then also have a bit of detailing around the APU exhaust, and since we already mentioned the engine nacelles, let's also quickly take a look at those. Here we once more find the Luxair branding, and we also have the silver leading edge printed on, but that's all for printed details. The physical detailing itself is okay. I mean, we have to consider the size of the aircraft model, and it is rather tiny, although I would say that the engine fan blades could have been a little bit more pronounced. Then at the front of the aircraft and across the fuselage we find the writing of Luxembourg Airlines, Luxair and the Luxembourgish crest. When we then look at the cockpit section, well, what we get here is the cockpit windows with the window wipers, and above that the last letter of the registration code, so really just the basic details you need for this aircraft model. But what I do like is actually the shape of the motor. I think Herpa has done rather well with that. On the fuselage, just above the wings, we find the emergency exit has been printed on, which leads us straight to the wings, which we should definitely also take a closer look at, starting off with the top side, where we can see the different flap slats and spoilers have been carved out rather nicely, but we don't really find any printed details, no safety relevant markings or anything like that. The underside of the wings, I think, physical detailing is okay. Here we also find the full registration code of the aircraft once more. Then we can also take a quick look at the landing gear, and considering the size of this aircraft model, I would say this is actually pretty decent from Herpa Wings. The only thing I'm really missing here is at the front landing gear some printed detailing, but okay, that's not unusual for Herpa Wings. So there we have it, the Embraer ERJ-145 in the standard livery of Luxair from Herpa Wings in scale 1 to 500, and what can we say about this aircraft model? I mean, it doesn't really offer us anything out of the ordinary. We have really just the most basic details that we need to recognize this as an aircraft model. But the details Herpa has added, they have done so rather well. And of course we have to consider as well, the model is from 2010, and for that it is really just the standard of Herpa Wings in 2010. And the other thing we of course also have to consider is that it is an Embraer ERJ-145, and in scale 500 this aircraft model does become rather tiny. Ultimately, it might not surprise you when I say that I do rather like this aircraft model, although I would also say that it is very much helped by the Luxair livery, which I think suits the Embraer ERJ-145 quite a lot. So at the end, if you like regional airliners, I would say yes, I would recommend this aircraft model for one's collection. Now with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, why not leave a like? That would be very much appreciated, and of course, if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe? That would be absolutely awesome. With that, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching, hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.